everybody. Today is September the 2nd, 2020. Before we know it, January will be here. I'm gonna give you guys a chance to hop on. I'll get my supplies in order while you guys do that. And we will paint a turkey and a boo bat. That's what we're gonna paint tonight. Hey Cece, how are you? Ashley was just on here, now I'm on here. It's just been that kind of a day. Hey Debbie, how are you? We're gonna paint a turkey and paint a boo bat. We got a lot of stuff done today, so that was good. I took a nap, so that was good. Hey Miss Joyce, how are you? So glad y'all could join me. I'm gonna be painting, first of all, first thing I'm gonna work on is this turkey. I went ahead and base coated him. He's got all sorts of colors on him. Really, I started with the light orange and base coated that twice. And then I have my light yellow, lime green. I think I did barn red here. Reindeer brown, red, orange, yellow, black, white, and of course this is all reindeer brown. Okay? So I'm gonna start shading the reindeer brown. Hey Con, isn't it cute? Love, love, love turkeys. I never get tired of them. It doesn't matter how many turkeys I paint or how many turkeys I see. And I think it's just because I like Thanksgiving a lot. It's that time of year where the weather's better. Most of the time the weather is better. Let's say it is. But I'm just gonna start with my number 16 shader and go to town on this reindeer brown. I can remember a time when I thought if I could ever figure out how to paint a turkey, I would just be all that, you know? And on the turkey, to me, a lot of it, you'll notice I kind of have a tendency to pull that brush up just because I like that look. Let me put this down a little bit more where I think y'all can see it a little better. You might not can see my face as much, but that's okay. So I kind of pull that brush up some, like that. That's just kind of like what I like. And it makes it kind of have a feathery look. And then I'll come here. And I'm just taking this, putting a little bit of paint on the edge and just going to town with it. And then I'll come up here on this stalk. This is that shading brown. Put some in there. And I'll put some on this stalk. Not a whole lot because I don't have a big area to work with, so I'm kind of keeping it cool as far as I'm not putting a lot on there. How are you, Debbie? Much better. Good. I'm glad. All right, so I'm going to start up here on his head, and I'll kind of come around that. You know how I always say I start on that perimeter? Starting on that perimeter, just going around that perimeter. That's what I'm going to do first. It'll come down. And then again, I'll pick that brush up to kind of make the edge of it, where I'll get this little wisp in there. Clean little look. And then I always kind of come in here and give them a little bit of an eyebrow. And I just kind of take that brush and just do that. Nothing too difficult. And I might put that in here. And really I've got my brown done as far as that goes. Now, I think I've told you guys before, and it's so true because today I ran into this myself. I don't have, hey Lauren, how are you? Hi Casey, how are you doing? I don't know if y'all saw, but I have finally talked Bruce into, we're going live on the Yard Art or Us page on Friday at 3. We're gonna have a live Q&A session where people get to ask us questions. Hopefully we'll think of something clever to say as far as our answers. I asked Bruce would he do that because people are always kind of, I mean, they see me and Ashley all the time, but they don't always get to see him. And people are kind of curious sometimes about, you know, what does he do or what does he have to say about all this kind of thing. So I ran out of shading red. So just like I've told y'all in the past, all I did was take some red and some black, put it in here, mix it up with a little bit of water. And honestly, I would say the ratio is probably 75 to 80% red. And 15, maybe 10, 15, 20% black. Maybe 10 to 15, not 20. If you put too much black in there, it just gets too dark. Yeah, he's thrilled. But he really didn't give me any grief. He really didn't. So I was kind of like, way to go. I thought I was going to have to kind of like, please. But he said, no, we can do that. So I'm just taking the same brush stroke with the shading red that I just created using red and black. And I'm just coming in here and doing that. And then I'll just kind of come in here. And I might just kind of go back and forth. And I'll come in there. And then I'll do that same thing right here. Hey Carla, how are you? I'm so glad you could join us. It's so nice to see you guys whenever I see y'all sign on. It's so cool. Y'all can hear my dog. She's mad because I won't let her in. I'm just putting some shading red in here. Not a whole lot for two reasons. Number one, I don't have a lot of space. And number two, I really don't want to cover up that red orange that I've got going on in here. So I'm just going to do that. Okay. Now I've got my lime green. So I'm going to wash out my brush here. And I'm going to put some dark green on here. So here's my dark green. Got to put some water in here. Because I don't have near enough water in here. So this is my dark green. And when I first started painting, I didn't paint turkeys because I thought they were so hard. But what's true is if you'll shade your turkey, I think you'll like it. I really do. But turkeys is kind of one of those, it doesn't really matter how many of them I paint. A turkey will, if it's a decent looking turkey, it will sell no matter what. So I'll kind of come in here and I'll start here on this and I'll go this way. So I start here and I just kind of bring that brush on this line and then I come over here to this line. So I start here and stop there. Start, stop. Get that out of the way. Start here, stop. Start, stop, and then of course start, stop. Now while I have some paint on here, I will kind of do this. I'll just make a brush stroke. That's all I'm going to do. That's all I do. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to look at is I've got my orange, the orange part of my feather. It's that light orange. So I'm just washing my brush out. I've got my shading orange right here. And I'm going to take it and I'm going to start it. I can show y'all. How do you decide which color to shade? That's a good question. So when this is just my style. It doesn't mean, Debbie, that you have to do this, but this is just kind of exactly where the two colors meet. You're right. But as far as what color to choose, what I do is, this is something my mother-in-law kind of drilled in my head for a long time. If you have, I'm going to just do this. This is 3 shades of green, right? So when I'm shading, I kind of stick in that same color family. In this case, I had lime green, so the only other thing that's darker, I think, would be this. I don't think this would shade well. It's too bright for what I'm wanting. So if you notice, what I have a tendency to do is you got the reindeer brown, and then of course we named it shading brown. So I kind of have a tendency to stick with that. Whatever color, and you don't necessarily have to. I've seen people do it other ways, but this is just for whatever reason what I've always liked. So if I have a green, I'm going to shade in something a little darker in that same color family. This is a light orange. I'm going to shade in this kind of orange. And now in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this orange and I'm going to butt it up to that dark green. And that's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to mess with this area right out here because I want that light orange to show. I don't want to cover up all my light orange. So I'm just going to kind of come in here like so. Like that. I'm going to put a little bit more. Now I'm going to go to my shading yellow because that's just what I do. I'll go that lighter yellow and then I will do the shading yellow. And let's see. Here it is. So here we go. It's kind of that same thing. I'm gonna just stay right here on that shading yellow, right here on that line where that light orange is. I'm not gonna come out here and cover this up. I'm gonna put some white out here after a while, but I still want some of that yellow showing through. Yeah, where the green meets the brown. Yeah, exactly. That's why I think now, you know, we have the CNC doing the lines for us. We haven't always had that, obviously. When we used to cut with the jigsaw, we would have to do all of our own drawing and stuff by hand or by graphite paper. So this is really a lot faster and a lot more precise. And it's just a lot easier because there's no sitting here guessing, thinking, is this where the line goes? Is that where the line goes? That's, you know, that kind of thing. All right, so I'm gonna come over here to his bill. I don't know if y'all can see that. Am I out of the camera view? Coming over here to his bill, and I'm gonna just kind of do like that. There we go. Now, really the only thing I have left to shade are my pumpkins. And because for me, because I've done pumpkins for so long, to me, they're like some of the easiest things to do. But, because I don't know how many pumpkins I've painted in my lifetime, but I would say definitely in the thousands and thousands and thousands. So now here's my pumpkin stalk. So here's what I do. I tend to create my pumpkin lines based off the angles of my stalk. So my stalk is here, so I'm going to kind of bring one here like so. And then you've got one here like so. And you just kind of start dragging that brush to where you think you've got some good where the curve, if you will, of your pumpkin would go. So you would come here, here, and I kind of do this in the middle. I kind of do that. There's my pumpkin, okay? And it's kind of the same thing here. You see the curve of that stalk? You've got these little curves going this way. So that's kind of what I'm using as far as my imagination to kind of direct me to where to go. So I'm going to do like that because that looks good. I'm going to do like this because I've got this one right here. And the thing about pumpkins, they're not going to be perfect. They're not supposed to be perfect. This is y'all, is a pumpkin a fruit or a vegetable? I think it's a vegetable. So they're not supposed to be looking all perfect. So I'm going to come here. You can do this. I'm going to go up here. And in just a little bit of time, we have a decent looking turkey. Now, the other thing about the way I do, for whatever reason, this is just what I like. I tend not to ever outline turkeys in black. I tend to always outline them in the shading red. Hey, Brian, how are you? You had to come and see me paint, huh? So I was saying a little earlier, I don't usually outline my turkeys in black. I usually do it in this color. And the reason for it, I feel like a turkey is an animal. And so you want all the warm tones, not the harsh, cool tones, the warmer tones. And so I tend to do this, and I've got that script liner, right? And I'm just gonna kind of bring that brush in here. And I don't try to make it exactly perfect. I can tell I need a little more water. Because whenever I've got that script liner going, and just because I've always painted and painted for a long time for a living, I tend to kind of think if my paint is too gummy, I'm not going to get the speed that I want. So I'm not shy about watering down that paint if I need to. And at the shading red, to me, I think looks really good on a turkey. Because again, it's an animal, so you want to kind of keep it warm as far as the color family of it. And I'll just take that shading red just anywhere you might see some shading brown and just kind of hit it with some shading red on the shading brown. That's kind of the method to my madness, if you will. And you can tell when I start this with this script liner, with this shading red, to me, that's when you're going to see this turkey start to look good. To me, he doesn't look good too much until I start that. And then I'm going to come here. So while I have that brush in my hand, I'll just kind of come in here Nope, don't like that one. I've screwed that one up. I'm gonna go this way. And I'll just kind of come in here with a little bit. Doesn't take long. But then you can already see my turkey is starting to look good. It's starting to look like what I'm used to seeing, which is a lot of layers and lots of shading, and then quite a bit of outlining, really. So I'm gonna come here on this layer of feathers and just do that same thing. I'll pick that script liner up when I get to the end. I'll just pick it up in the air. And then I kind of come back here, a little bit here, a little bit there. Gonna do my turkey. We're gonna come here, like that. We're gonna come here. And I just bring that brush and just kind of gently put a little bit of pressure in there. I'm not putting a ton of pressure on there. I'm not trying to scrunch the brush down in there, the tip of the brush. I'm trying to get enough paint on there, but I'm not trying to just put gobs and gobs of paint. So I'll come up here, and then I will go ahead and outline this little, I call it the goblet or I don't know really what this thing is called, but the waddler or whatever it's called. Y'all, sometimes I crack myself up at the names I come up with. Okay, then I'll come up here to create that eyebrow, and then I'm going around the perimeter of my turkey's head up here. That's all I'm doing, just kind of going around the perimeter. And I'll bring that script liner brush and just draw some very light, faint brush strokes, very light. Now I will do his eye in black here in a little bit. Now I'm not ready for that, but I will do the eyeball and eyelashes in black, okay? So let's go over this way. So I got my turkey, I've got that part. And again, I'm gonna still use this shading red. Gotta get that out of the way, make sure y'all can see. On that lime green, still gonna use the shading red, and I'm gonna come in here. And I'm just following that CNC line. Coming up here like so, tying that all together. Gonna bring it in here. You're gonna start, this turkey starts to look finished when we're doing this. There we go. There we go. My paint on that green is still not quite dry, but that's okay. We're not gonna worry about it tonight. You would know that if this was dry, that green wouldn't be blending in with some of the shading red. So tomorrow I'll just get up and tip it off a little bit. And thank God for those CNC lines, y'all, because they're just really easy to follow. Follow the line. I made a boo-boo there, so I'm gonna pick that up with my finger. And I'll come back and put a little bit of white paint on there after a while, so I'm not gonna worry about that. I'm gonna come in here, like so. Just following that CNC line. Now, while I'm here, I'm gonna go ahead and outline the stalk of my pumpkin. So my stalk of my pumpkin was painted reindeer brown. Then I did a shading brown. And now I am outlining in a shading red. And I probably would just kind of come in here a little bit. There you go. Just giving it a light brush stroke. Okay, so we're gonna come in here. And we got a little bit more outlining to do here. We're gonna come here. And we're gonna go this way, following those CNC grooves. So you can see this piece would take a lot of outlining color. Now I know that a lot of people online will encourage you to outline using paint pens. And the reason I don't ever encourage that is because those things are expensive. And you start outlining something like this and you can see how much paint I have. Pumpkin is a fruit. Well, what the heck? I thought it was a vegetable. Shows what I know. Thank you, Brian. All right, it's a fruit. I'm gonna remember that now. So I don't encourage paint markers. It's not that you couldn't do. do that, but I don't know how you would get a paint marker down in the groove of this CNC line, and I don't know how you could afford a paint marker to do very long. So, and sometimes this paint, I'll water it down and really make that paint lay down in those grooves, and I don't think that that's something you can do to a paint marker. And we're gonna kind of just stay in that CNC line. And you notice I'm just tying all these lines of the feather together. That's all I'm doing. Just kind of going in here. I'm going to bring that out like so. Kind of bring it out. Kind of come out a little bit. Not a lot. I'm not going all the way to the end. Just kind of going to the very edge. Okay. So I really have all my outlining done as far as my shading red goes. Now, let's pick up a little bit of black and go ahead and work on his eyeball. That won't take long because there's not much to it. And y'all, I can see this black is just way too thick. So I'm gonna water that down. Gonna just stir, 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 stir. You gotta stir a lot to get that. All right, and so I'm gonna come in here like this. Kind of come in here, and I'm just making that, I'm just completing the outline on that eyebrow, on that eye, I mean. I'm gonna give him eyelashes. Bruce will argue with me and say turkey ain't supposed to have eyelashes. All of my turkeys have eyelashes. All right. Now, I have to go ahead and outline my pumpkins. But as you can see, our turkey's starting to look good. And he's looking good just because we did shading and outline. That's the only reason I think he's looking good. Nothing too difficult, right? Brian, yeah. He'll argue with me, Brian, and tell me turkeys are not supposed to have eyelashes. But if you notice, almost everything I do has eyelashes. All right, so I've got my red, orange, and I've got my script liner. And I'm dabbling that script liner kind of down in there. I need to get a lot of red, orange on here so I can cover these CNC lines. Okay, so I'm gonna come in here like this, like so, and so just coming in here. And just going back and forth. Back and forth, okay? Now, I was just kind of very, very lightly, I'll bring some of that red, orange on my script liner, and I'll do a dotted or a dashed line here. I won't do a single. And then here, I'll just kind of do a little bit of a line. And then I'll go up here, got some of that red on there, that shading red, and I'll just do a dotted or dashed line until I get to the bottom. And then I'll do a dotted or dashed line here. And then I'll come up here. And I think the reason I like the dotted or dashed lines in the middle, it just doesn't give you a real harsh fruit or pumpkin. It just kind of softens it, but it does give you some definition, which of course is what you want. Now on the outside of my pumpkin, I am gonna give that a solid line. And then on the inside, I'll just kind of come back and just give it a little bit more. There's my pumpkin, okay? Now I've got to come over here to this guy. And again, in the middle, I just do a dotted or dashed line. I guess it's not really a dotted line, it's a dash, technically, if you think about it. Come in here, here, like that, like this. And I'm just doing very light pressure here. That's all I'm doing. And then I'm gonna go ahead and put quite a bit of paint on here on this line, because that's that outside line of my pumpkin. And then a dash line here. There we go. Okay, now my turkey is ready to be finished here in just a minute. And really, I had him base coated when we started, but I've only been shading maybe about 20, 25 minutes. Not a whole long time. Now, obviously, you might not paint as fast as I do, but just take your time on your shading and do one color at a time, and I think you'll be fine at the end of at the end of your project. Your turkey will look good. And y'all, I don't care what you say, there's something about a pretty turkey in somebody's yard with some pumpkins all around. Don't get me wrong, I love Christmas, and I love this stuff that we make at Christmas, but love the turkeys. It's probably one of my favorite. Okay. I think if you have the patience to do a turkey, and you have the patience to do a Santa at Christmas, nothing's any harder, I don't think, than that. Well, maybe a nutcracker at Christmas can be harder, but these things have a lot of detail. Turkeys and Santas usually do. Okay, so I've got some white on here. Now, pay attention to what I do. I'm just going in here. Of course, you see I dropped that. It wasn't smart of me. That's okay. I just kind of come in here. There's no, I'm trying to make this brush touch the board, but I don't have a lot of pressure on there, just a little bit. I'm not trying to put a whole lot of white on here, but I do need some. Yeah, I'm just trying to put a little bit of pressure on this script liner, not much, okay? Now when I get out here to the edge of my feathers, I might put a little bit more as far as the pressure on my brush for the white. And then this is something I like to do. It doesn't mean you have the fall colors. Yes, ooh yes, love fall. And maybe we like it too because it's so hot here all the other times of the year. We just can't wait for fall to get here. So what I do is I kind of come out here on the very edge and I just tip this yellow part with a script liner with some white. And to me, if I do that, it gives me a really good, I think the reason I like this is when you look at this turkey, you've got dark, kind of dark, lighter, light, and white. So you've got a graduation of all your colors here as a whole. And I think that's probably why I like it that way. I don't have a lot of paint on here, but I do have enough to just give me a good white line. And I like that look. You can kind of see that, right? So I'm gonna kind of come down here on this side. Well, let me do this side a little bit. We're gonna do so, like this. And then we're gonna come here, 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 and like, kind of come up. I'm gonna put a pretty big white thing there, a little bit of white here. Y'all know I always have to put that white dot in the middle of the black for my eye. Okay. And I'm gonna come over here, put some white. Not a whole lot. I'm gonna let you see him kind of from afar. I think he's super pretty, y'all. This turkey is just too pretty. And then I'm gonna let you kind of see up here. I'll just kind of take it slow so you can just see what I've done. See how much paint I have there? Got a lot of paint, don't I? It looks good, doesn't it, y'all? And it's just that, you know, that patience of taking the time to shade, using your script liner, right? And then we'll kind of come back here and let you look at the pumpkins. We're gonna do a boo bat here in just a second. And the boo bat's gonna seem super simple compared to this guy. So let him come back here. Love turkeys, y'all. It doesn't matter how many turkeys I paint, I'll never get tired of them. I think they're so pretty. Okay, so we have our boo bat. I'm gonna try to go here. Let's go with a smaller, I need a smaller flat tip brush. We're gonna go with, this is number 12. So I've got my light yellow, I've got my shading yellow. I don't have a whole lot of paint on here, but I have a little bit, and I'm kind of making that shader, that brush, I'm kind of making it lay down because I want to get, I don't want a whole lot of paint on here because I've got a small area, but I want enough of that shading to give me that good shaded look. That's good looking turkey. Yeah, the turkey is just, I don't know, y'all. There's something about it. I don't care how many turkeys I paint. I think there might even be some painted turkeys that I put out the other day. I've made a big turkey. I think he's probably 46 by 46. And he's got a big gray hat on, and he's got this really cute blue jacket. And I have painted him probably for 25 years. Yeah, I might not have painted him every single year, but probably close to maybe, you know, every year. And it doesn't matter how many times I paint him. I think he's just precious. And then I have another turkey over there where he's, I call him the peeking turkey. He's got a pumpkin like this, and right here is covering up one eye, and one eye he's peeking around at you. Too cute. Too cute. They are bigger turkeys, and they're kind of a little more complicated than the one I did today. But for some of you, you know, you hang out, and this time next year you can be doing some of those more complicated turkeys. Although the one I did tonight I think is really, really pretty. Okay, so I've got my shading there, so I'm gonna go back to this bigger brush, okay, which is a number, this is the 16, and I'm just gonna do my boo, okay? This brush has quite a bit of water in it, and that's just what I want at this point. So I'm gonna just go to the outline over here. Now, if you notice when I'm doing this, I got quite a bit of paint, but that's like the way I like it. Now, I'm not gonna shade on this side, and that's because I'm gonna shade on this side. So it wants to, you kind of almost want to feel like the idea is this bee is in front, that one's behind it, and then this one's behind this one, if that makes any sense. Where do I find the sign up for the Academy? You can go to yard.academy.com right there and just do it right there. And I think we might even had a link on Painters Club, but I really can't remember. But you know, in the turkey that I just showed y'all, gosh, I probably have painted that turkey 15 years. And but it really doesn't matter how many turkeys I paint. You're gonna see, I'll sell every one of them. And I just think it's because they're just so pretty. I think Brian said too, the fall colors, you know. And two, you know, when you think about fall here for us, because we really don't have cool weather too much, you know, fall, we're all outside kind of like it's summertime still, you know. Whereas maybe if we lived in a colder climate, we'd be kind of stuck inside a little more because it'd be cooler weather, colder weather, you know. So I'm just kind of dragging this around is what I'm doing. And I'm gonna go here, and I'm just kind of making some brush strokes, not trying to be all precise or anything like that with it. All right, now I am gonna get my script liner if I can find it. I just had it and I can't find the one I want. How could I have 4 script liners in here and not pick up the right one? What the heck, it was right here, y'all. It wasn't even in the water. Maybe that's why I didn't find it. You have to look in the right place if you're gonna find it. All right, so here we go. We got our red orange. I've got my script liner. I'm gonna kind of put quite a bit of paint on here. The thing about this paint, I don't know if you can tell it, is it's watered down quite a bit, which is what I like. Because that's gonna make that paint obey where I want it to go. It's kind of like, you know, if you have something that's stiff and not, or it's too gummy, it's not gonna move. And you want your paint to move. I would say, especially when you're outlining, you want that paint to move where you want it to go. So we're gonna come up here, and then I'm gonna go just down in here. And just kind of cover that up a little bit. I'm gonna go over here on this bee. And go like so. I'm gonna come in here. Notice I'm not doing anything here because really all that needs to be done here is white. And I'll wait till the very end to do that because I don't want to get that all over my elbows and my hands. So we're gonna come in here just on that CNC line. We're gonna go around, pull that in here. Just pulling that brush where I want it to go. And when I have that script liner in my hands and I'm going, you know, I've done my outline and I'm just kind of making stray brush marks everywhere, I just have a very light hand when I'm doing that. So when I kind of come around here, it's very light hand. You can barely see it almost, you know. You don't want it, this out here real dark, because this part right here is the dark part. That's what you want dark, okay? And then we're gonna come out here. Gonna keep going. Like so. Gonna go around. And I'm just following that CNC. And I'd probably just kind of come in here and just do something very light. Very light. Don't have much pressure in there at all. Okay. Now I'm going to go back with my white, because you guys know that we always, Ashley and I tend to always do white as our last item. Hey Paula, how are you? No problem. You can always catch me on replay. I'll show you the turkey here in a minute. Everybody was saying how pretty it is. I started this with doing a turkey. And I just would come in here and put in, on that I'm going to put a kind of a thick white. And here I'm going to kind of go back to my light touch, right? And here I'm going to just kind of go back to a light touch. There we go, there we go. Maybe come in here. Okay, so now I'm kind of ready to work on the black bat part. Now, what I typically do is I'll come in here and I'll just do a little bit above each letter right there. And then, of course, you know I've got to go, I always have to go do my outline. Here's the thing. The black being dark and then the white, that's called, to me, I call it a reverse. Because typically you start with a light color and then you shade and a little darker and then you outline it even darker. But here we started with the dark color and then we're going light. Excuse me. So here's the, and this is something Ashley, you know, she struggled with this, but she's got it down pat now. When she first started painting, and I did the same thing, when I brought that white in here on top of black, doing this reverse, you know, dark background with the white, the light outline, I would try to make the white paint real harsh, real wide, and always following the exact outline here. In other words, I would try to make this white paint there on the very edge right here. And that really was a mistake. So watch what I do. Notice I'm not trying to take that white paint to the very edge. I'm bringing it in just a little bit, okay? I'm not trying to take it to the very edge. I bring it in off the edge just a little bit. And I'm not trying to make it a real thick stroke. I'm just kind of going light, a wispy, light-handed, okay? And then I'm going to kind of come in here with his ears. Notice I don't touch the edge. I just kind of bring it in. I've got little bitty eyes because the bat's got little beady eyes, or so I think that they do. And I'd probably do that. And that's really all I would do on your boo bat. So take a look at my white on that black. I don't have very harsh white lines. I have kind of light, airy, wispy, and I stay away from the very edge right here. I come in a little bit. And then I just go very wispy with that white. So you can kind of see it here. And I'll get you right up there. See, I don't bring that white to the edge. I come in off that edge a little bit. And to me, that's what looks good. Less is better when you're doing this reverse. When you have a dark background and you're doing that white, less is better, okay? And I'm gonna go get the turkey, so I want Paula to see that turkey because it's really, really, really pretty. But I'm very partial because I love turkeys. Okay, so here's our turkey. Okay, that's the one we have at the store, the blank, but I'll get it up there so you can see I have a lot of paint on there. So I won't even try to poly this guy until tomorrow. I really won't, because there's no point. He's got lots of paint on him, and I want that paint good and dry before I try to do anything with him. So I know for sure Bruce and I will be on the Yard Art or Us main page, not the Painters Club, but we'll be on the main page on Friday at 3. We're gonna do a little husband and wife session. where we answer questions, but we just kind of tell y'all our story. So if you can join us, that would be great. If you can't, no worries. But I thought it was kind of cool to get him in front of the camera because he's a huge part of everything that goes on around here. His perspective's a little different than mine, but that's good. And see, today's Wednesday. All right, so let's look at the calendar. So I was here today with the Boo Bat and the Turkey on Pumpkins. Ashley will be here tomorrow. She will be doing a Happy Fall Y'all pumpkin and a pumpkin picking. And then I'll be back here on the main page, Yard Art Us, our main page. Not the Painters Club, but on the brick and mortar store page at 3. And that's on Friday. And then Miss Victoria on Monday will be doing her I Smell a Child or I Smell Children. I'm not sure which one it is. On Sunday, I said Monday. She'll be here Sunday at 7 o'clock. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Y'all go get the turkey, paint the turkey. You gotta have a turkey in your yard this fall. It's just an absolute must. But thank you for joining us, and I hope y'all guys have a great day. I'll see you Friday. Ashley will see you tomorrow. Bye, everybody.